2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey, I'm Georgia Lyons and this is Intros, and today on the show we have the absolutely incredible from the Mount, Frankie Venter. Welcome to Intros.
Thank you for having me.
I like to think of myself as youthful, and then
You are youthful.
Thank you. Youthful.
Yeah, that's what your face screams.
But I'm
youthful.
10 years older than you.
I can't believe that, actually.
I'll take it. Youthful.
Youthful.
Talk to me about your journey. I mean, you're 17. When
Yeah.
did you first discover, like, you can sing, and when did you write your very first song?
I was singing when I was probably before I could talk. That's the feedback that I've got from my family. Yeah, I had a very supportive household. It was lovely to grow up in, very loud, very echoey house. It was built out of concrete, so it was constant
Great.
noise, constant echoes.
And when did you start writing music?
I think I was 12 or 13. I'd been like bashing myself up, being like, why can't I write a song for, I think like 3 months. Then we went camping with no Wi-Fi,
Great.
no service, nothing. I locked myself in a tent, said if I don't write a song, like I'm not gonna let myself out. So I wrote a song, and that's the first song I ever put out, which is Lonely Roads. And it's my favorite song I've ever put out. And now when people say, I've known her since da-da-da-da, people say, I've known her since that tent video. And it was when I'd taken a video of this first song I've ever wrote.
Trapping yourself in a hot tent is like works really well
It
for
really
you.
does. It really does.
I admire that. I mean, pressure cooker.
It
Okay.
is, literally.
Okay. You have a manager, a wonderful manager, and you also have a label.
I do.
Those are big things.
I know.
Really exciting.
Yeah.
How did those opportunities come about? Let's start there.
I literally, sounds really superficial, but when I was a bit younger, I was a bit obsessed with the verified tick. And I remember texting people who were verified, and I think I went through one of my other music friends following, and I was like, oh, they have all these verified ticks that they follow, and they're in New Zealand. And I was like, okay, I'll text one of them. And I texted Rory Noble, and I didn't know who he was.
Shout out, Rory.
We love you, Rory. And I said, how do you get that verified tick? And he was like, oh, like it's getting increasingly harder, but we kind of got talking, and he was like, do you want to come to Auckland to the studio for a few days? And I was like, hell yeah, I do. So I was trying to keep my cool, but that was like my first proper studio experience. And now I've been welcomed into the 5am family, and I just feel so lucky. Yeah. It's amazing. I love it.
Well, at some point, you had to obviously make a decision, like, am I going to sign with Rory or not? Like, was there anything for you that you're like, this feels like the right move because...
I think it felt like the right move when I realised working with 5am was so artist-led, and it was what the artist wants, and they don't want you to be in a deal that you don't want to no longer be in. So it's definitely like more like a family than like, it didn't feel like I was signing my life away or anything like that. And yeah, it just felt really right, and I still feel free to do what I like, and it's, they want me to be happy, and I am really happy. Yeah.
And that's something that they're really passionate about in terms of like supporting artists.
Exactly.
Making sure, like you said, there's an artist-led focus. Yeah, I've worked with Rory a little bit as well, so amazing. Love that you're working with them. What are you working on at the moment? Like, what is the world of Frankie in the next little while?
I think just writing as many songs as I can with as many different people as I can, and learning. That's what I've been doing the past like 6 months-ish. And now to kind of study the algorithm and use TikTok and Instagram and social media to boost my releases, and actually do releases one after the other, and like really curate my whole Spotify and discography and everything. And yeah, just having fun. Like that's my favourite thing to do, especially on the internet. I love having fun. Love having fun.
You are amazing online.
Thank you.
Like, you're really good at the TikTok.
Yeah, the TikTok.
Youthful over here.
The snap hack. That's what my dad calls it.
Like, obviously that was the first time I saw you and heard of you was through a video, I think, of you in your bedroom playing guitar, singing. And you're really consistent with creating content. How do you come up with content? Tell me, I need help.
Honestly, I think like I try to post every day, and then whether it doesn't have to be music related, I think the best thing to do is have such like different types of content coming out so it can appeal to lots of audiences. Obviously it's mainly music, but I love like doing comedy bits and like skits with my family, or just videoing.
I appreciate those.
Thank you, I love that. Some of my sisters, they think it's cringy, but that's okay.
I find content quite hard, you know,
It is
having to
difficult.
really like push my...
creative juices?
Yeah, creative juices, and being consistent, like what you're amazing at. Why do artists need to be online at all?
You can understand the music scene right now. It's ever changing and evolving as technology changes and evolves, and it's become, you can look at it in a negative light or a positive light, it's become 10% about the songs and 90% about how you market them. And since I'm such a big consumer of other artists, I know what I want to see and what I'd like to hear if I was a fan of somebody, to my blown mind that people actually want to see that from me. I just share literally every aspect of my life, and people
amazing.
enjoy it, which is crazy.
For any young artist, you know, that is trying to figure out their way in the industry, what would you encourage them to do?
I think this isn't content related, but write your own songs and then post them. Just post, like don't have anything in your drafts that isn't posted, because honestly, just put it out to the world and they can take it and they can dislike it or like it. But think of you, honestly, just get them out. That's the most important thing.
There you go. Online hate is a whole massive conversation and there's a lot to navigate in that space. So there's a Mandy trolling you on the internet.
Yeah.
Who is Mandy? What has she been doing?
Now, I have been trying to figure this out for, I think, like over a year. Still a mystery.
And she's just like, obviously I know what she's been doing, but for people that are watching.
I think she's just assigned her full-time job to just take the mickey out of me. Just like a hateful person, like, oh wow, you really think your music's gonna get somewhere? Like, that's embarrassing. Or if I put hashtag USA, because I want to reach more people, she's like, you really think your music's gonna be heard in the USA? And I'm like,
how has that been for you, being 17? Like, that's hard. That's a really hard space to sit in as an 27-year-old and have people say, you know, comments that aren't helpful and they are really hurtful. And you're like, I'm creating art and songs and music, and because I love it and I'm doing what I love, and it's really vulnerable and scary. How is that for you as a 17-year-old having to navigate that space?
I think obviously, like, when you create and you put your art out there, like, it's one thing to do that, and then that's kind of the rawest version of yourself, and the most, like, for me, my art is the most me thing ever. And so somebody to directly hate on that, it's hurtful, but I think being 17, like, there's ups and downs to it. There's the light that you could paint it in as I'm, like, very vulnerable because I haven't been in the world long enough and I'm only 17 and I'm getting hundreds of, like, I think there's like 100 hate comments on my stuff. But
That's
also...
insane.
Yeah. Yeah. People on Instagram Reels just go off. Like, it's not just TikTok, it's just they have no filter.
Makes me fume inside.
I know. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to deal with. I lean on my family a lot.
Amazing.
And, like, sometimes I'll find myself going, oh, is it what they say it is? Like, maybe I, you know, aren't cut out for this. Maybe this song wasn't as good as I thought. And then I'm like, no, Frankie, this is not the reason why you're doing it. You don't do it for other people, you do it for yourself. So.
And you are amazing.
Thanks.
Like, you're absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
I remember releasing this video called No One Knows, and there was this one YouTube comment, and this lady, I think her name was Nina, and she wrote this comment and said, cool voice but hate the video or something. Like, I don't remember the specific thing, but I remember it's like the one comment you read and you go, oh, like, have I just created something like silly or dumb, and you know, the one person that's trolling you on the other side of the internet.
Could be 80 other comments saying that it's amazing.
100%, but you listen to that and you kind of laugh about it and like deep down you're like, wait.
Literally.
You know, and it does affect you. It's like you realise this thing online, you know, it's like a middleman that people think like, oh, they're not going to read the comments or they're not going to see if I...
Because it's through a screen, but there's actually a person on the other side.
Yeah. For someone that maybe doesn't have a support network or doesn't yet have that and is maybe getting like online hate or trying to navigate that space, like what would be some advice that you could give them?
I honestly think happy people don't hate on other people. They don't, one, have time for it, and they, two, don't, like, they just don't want to. That's not what they're about. And so people who are critiquing you are honestly, like, not just critiquing, but like hating on you, they're honestly not very happy. And I think protecting your own peace over worrying about what other people say about you, I mean, it's easier said than done, but it's important.
Very wise. You're 17. You're very wise. What is your songwriting process?
It's different every time. Often I'll start in my bedroom, dark little bedroom, probably feeling a little bit unhappy. I like to channel a lot of unhappy thoughts through music. And I love to like have just a little seed of an idea. I'll start with instruments. I always start with instruments. I can't do anything without instruments. And whether that's like it could be like a splice loop, so like a loop from the internet, or just guitar chords. Something that working with Rory has taught me is that doesn't always have to make sense, and often they will form into words themselves, like the melodies. And so often I'll come up with like a little, it sounds like me mumbling over the guitar, and he'll say, oh, did you say this word? Did you say this word? We could try to introduce this or this. And then I think having a half-written song is so fun to take to a producer and say, let's make the rest of it, because I think it gives you so much more freedom than taking an entire finished song and then producing it at the end.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have a new song that is out in the world called Layla. What is Layla all about?
Layla's a real person. It's about that feeling where you have this guy that you like, maybe you're seeing, or it doesn't have to be a guy, person, anything, and they won't be quiet about the ex. They just won't be quiet. And then in the end, it does bite you in the bum. Can
you give us an artist that you are loving at the moment to share with our Intros audience?
Bexy. Bexy, yes. I don't know where you are. I love you. And the thing is before I was even going to shout you out, this week I walked the Auckland streets and I passed you, and I could not bring myself to say hi, but I do love your song, Screaming in Your Driveway.
Bexy. Bexy. Frankie, you are amazing.
Thank you.
I'm really excited to see how your journey unfolds. Like, you're 17, and if you're doing this really cool stuff now as a 17-year-old, like, I can't wait to see what the next 10 years looks like for you and all the amazing songs that you write. You are absolutely incredible, and Mandy can just go and find a therapist.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Such a treat. I was going to try and shake your hand, and then I thought that was weird, and I was like, right hand.
On the ground and asked me if I like it. We both know I'd be a fool to tell you that I did. We just sit here sharing scraps of each other's gossip, nothing to talk about, so we just wait and sit it out. He says I don't know what I do to him. I know it's all lies, but I just say screw it. You know I don't wanna be the one to tell you, remind you of the times when all we talked about was Layla. 'Cause you're just full of shit, and as much as I hate it, I know I'm just your type. I'm just being blatant. I wanna punch and kick you, but when we get wasted, I want you in my life, but just for the night. But all the photos in an album and put it in the bin, emptied out the dirty laundry, and you along with it. And part of me still feels you wanting like you did, but I can't take it back now. I've got too far.